Hello guys. In the last video, we lifted the first 5 rows of a 2-story house and made scaffolding for working at height. In this video, we'll finish the first floor on our own. The slab is 3 meters high, which is 14 rows of blocks. Lintels are 2,400 millimeters high. To make it easier and save your back, we got a crane. Use a crane to lift mortar and bars on the second tier.
So instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it.
The crane needs 2 vertical bars. 50 by 100 is enough.
I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past and the pettiness. A reflection of the emptiness, hilarious. You think you're worth my time, you're delirious, mysterious because you are behind.
I added 2 horizontal boards to reinforce the construction. My son is always ready to help. Construction often lacks extra hands to hold.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.
I made a reinforced beam for the crane.
Of being incompetent, mental health is confidence, dreams and some honestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead I say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe you could be.
The last thing to do is cut a groove on one side so the beam will sit on the project site.
Going off of my meds, no I'm not giving up, no I'm not giving in. I will make it to the top, taking off, you know when I gotta make it. Every day to taste it, I'm patient.
My son asks, Dad, how did you build houses without electric or cordless tools? I let him try a hacksaw. We tried it on a 200 girder. He got bored. The hacksaw helps in hard to reach places. Don't drop anything on my son. It was perfect. I fastened it to the wall.
So instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that, spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but
it's secure.
Erase all the past and the pettiness. A reflection of the emptiness, hilarious. You think you're worth my time, you're delirious, mysterious because you are behind a fake exterior. You know I'll always be a get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words you can say in the back. I want you to feel free from the chains I want to believe in what you got, it was built to last.
This model can lift 800 pounds.
Never got anyone's help, I had to do it all myself. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate.
It's bolted with 4 16mm bolts.
Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some honestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead I say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so.
First test.
Wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some modestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you.
It seems to me to be an indispensable thing for the self-builder. In seconds, a bucket of mortar is on the second floor. Convenient.
Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable. Thoughts in my head, a collage and they spread. I'll be great one day, going off of my meds. No, I'm not giving up, no, I'm not giving in. I will make it to the top, taking off in the wind. I gotta make it, I'm saving every day to taste it. I'm patient, but my mind, it can hardly take it. I'm chasing a dream that I've had for several ages. A vacant, modern kingdom for the taking. Now that I've been put through.
While we were playing with the faucet, it rained a lot that day. Our house turned into a swimming pool. The submersible pump fixed it. Start the masonry row by pulling the pier. Screw 2 screws into the upper corners of the block. Pull the thread between them. I use Weber M100/600 mortar to work with the blocks. It is cement-based and strong. It's ideal for reliable, durable masonry. I knead the mortar to this consistency. It is necessary to get to the golden mean. If the mortar is too liquid, it is difficult to catch the right position when laying the block, and the mortar will shrink when drying out. Wet the masonry block before you start. Expanded clay will suck moisture from the mortar. It's 28 degrees Celsius outside. I used a 14 diameter rebar template. The template speeds up work. There are many templates online. I tried rebar and it worked well. The template lets you use the same layer of mortar each time, which speeds up leveling blocks. I only leveled the blocks horizontally. Each block was checked with a 2-meter level. horizontally and vertically. The inner wall was put up next to the outer wall. The end of the block is puzzle-shaped, so no vertical layer of mortar or glue foam is needed when installing. The outer wall will be plastered and insulated. This is enough. Used blocks go to the trim. They don't have a puzzle-shaped seam. In such places, mortar is added. The kids were excited to help and took turns filling the seams with mortar. They like to help Daddy build. Nobody makes them go to the construction site. Everyone knows what they have to do. They clean up the mortar, cover the masonry during the rain, bring the tools, and tell stories. We lay rebar together. For every third row, 2 bars for each 300 block. The inner wall is reinforced. The outer corner looks like this. I learned it from Estonian professionals. Reinforce the rows with BI reinforcement. The armature goes over the first row of blocks, in every fifth row for walls of 200 mm, 250 mm, or 300 mm blocks, in every fourth row for 100 mm or 150 mm blocks, and in the second to last row under the floor. Laying blocks was easy. This is my first time doing this. The first row is the most important. Since I have no experience, it's probably not very good. No matter how hard I tried, I made a small mistake in one place, and now each next row has the same mistake. Cladite blocks are easier to lay than aerated concrete blocks. Lay cladite blocks on a mortar height of 1 to 2 centimeters to reduce errors and achieve the ideal plane. The mortar does not necessarily have to be applied to the entire plane of the block. I applied two 7 to 8 centimeter lines, leaving a void inside. This saves mortar and creates an air layer inside the house. I laid 32 blocks in one day. The next day, I trimmed and put in an inner partition. Trimming takes a long time, while marking, cutting, and mixing mortar. You also need to make sure it's level. Nine rows are ready. The first floor has 14 rows. It's already more than half, which makes me happy. I only had a decent experience on the fifth row. If someone would serve the blocks, the work would go faster. Rain or shine, we went. You don't have to choose. Weekends are limited, and the blocks won't put themselves up. My main assistant is always with me. She helps me all the time. On the way home, she fell asleep. Amazing kid. Row 11 starts with installing the corner blocks. I used a leveler with a receiver, not a bubble level. The receiver lets you use the laser in bright sunlight. The laser can see all 4 corners. First, second, third, and fourth. Now I'll put the block. Done. Time to raise the scaffolding. One option was to add more beams and planks, but I don't have enough material. I need to go to the sawmill to buy some.
Нормально. Нормально?
Иди в картишки играй.
Да,
в картишки давай.
Нормально?
Да, давай быстрее.
Три.
Блин, а!
Три.
I also used the second option, which was to lean the finished scaffolding on the blocks. This job needed 16 blocks and 2 extra horsepower. 2 stacked blocks are half a meter high. This is enough to reinforce the first floor. We lifted one side, then the other. The scaffolding was screwed to the wall. Then we thought of physics at school. We made a simple lever to lift heavy things. It is just a stick on a support. A lever has 2 arms. The shoulder is the distance from the fulcrum to the point of force. Choose the wrong fulcrum and the right helper. It's okay, not scared. Swan, crab, pike. We work well together. It's fun, fast, and you get ideas when you need them. We'll fix it up and make it new. This summer, the kids took care of the lawn. I didn't have time to cut the grass because I was busy with construction. My daughter kept an eye on the site's beauty, and my son was preparing for circus school. The inner partition's 11th and 12th rows were lifted without mooring. I got good at it and didn't need to do it anymore. If the lower rows are level, you only need a long level. My 13-year-old son can now cook charcoal steaks without my help. I showed him how to do it a couple times. He burned the meat a couple times. Now he knows he'll be without dinner if he doesn't watch. I brought 2 I-beams with a width of 200 millimeters. In construction language, it is HEA 200. One was 3,800 millimeters long, the other 2,300 millimeters long. On the metal base, they cut off the required design dimensions. Also at the same time bought 8 millimeter rebar for the clamps of the reinforcement belt. It is necessary to calculate the exact center for the installation of the I-beam. When the crane arrives, there will be no time for calculations and measurements. I used an ordinary pier and spray paint so that the crane driver could see the landing places from afar. This is how the reinforcement of the last row looks like, under which will be the load from the reinforcement belt. In the case of the walls, a mandatory condition is that the BI fitting must go to the far outer side. The principle is the same as for the foundation reinforcement. Finally, we have reached the last 14 rows of the first floor of the house. Behind me, 3 months of work with blocks by own forces. Worked only on weekends, so if you decide to such an undertaking, you can immediately calculate how much time you will take for this work. This year was very lucky with the weather. For the whole summer, rainy days were few, mostly sunshine, which cannot but please the self-builder. Painted aerosol marks for the crane operator. Although running ahead, when installing the marks used not the crane operator, but myself. You'll see later. It was a very good idea to make the marks in advance. You can pour a concrete pad under the I-beam, or you can use a 5 megapascal expanded clay concrete block. So the width of the inner partition is 200 millimeters, and the main block is 300. Then the supporting 5 megapascal block sawed lengthwise to 20 centimeters. You need precision here. In sunny weather again saves a level with a receiver. On both sides of the level set the support blocks. I unloaded the metal beams myself. Between each other, I-beams will be fastened specially welded on the project plates. Welding cost me more than the cost of 2 I-beams. I brought wooden planks 100 by 200 for the ceiling of the first floor. Covered it from the rain. The wood is almost dry, only a couple beams were overwatered. I think in a month or a month and a half they will dry out and take their final shape. At the sawmill they said that it is not allowed to dry in direct sunlight. The wood will go by helicopter. One end of the I-beam will rest on the main house. Therefore, it is necessary to cut a hole. Be sure to use personal protective equipment: mask, respirator, headphones. On the contour of the markings, 230 diamond discs sawed with a bolt cutter. A half-meter drill bit all around the perimeter. Through the holes drilled through and carefully perforator, knocked out the project place for the I-beam. Experience in such work is available, so to make a hole was not very difficult. Done. I put roofing felt under the I-beam. Block and metal are two different materials in terms of thermal conductivity. So the roofing felt will compensate for the temperature difference. I laid it with a reserve, then I will cut off the excess. On the appointed day, the crane arrived. The crane itself did not remove, but his work you will see. In a short period of time, it was necessary to have time to do a huge job, and even alone, and also have time to shoot everything on video. In 2 hours, it was planned to install 2 lintels and 2 I-beams. I applied mortar on both sides and something went wrong. Talked, figured it out, crossed the slings and lifted. With a crane I work for the first time. As practice has shown, I need a second person to help. It would be much more convenient to level 2 workers on each side. Called a neighbor to help, but he did not respond. I had to do it myself. Miraculously, we got it right the first time. The length of the lintel is 3.5 meters. It is necessary to take into account the wind, the rolling of the lintel itself, and the actions of the crane operator. With the second lintel was more difficult. The crane is behind the house. The crane operator does not see what I do. I need to explain to him correctly and clearly what is required of him. I know there are certain commands, like up and down, but there's also left and right in relation to the position of the crane operator. It's like, you know, your brain's not even thinking straight. I didn't have a walkie-talkie. How to communicate? Who can tell me? We called each other on the phone and talked on speakerphone. It didn't work the first time, no hit. Pre-marked aerosol marks helped a lot. Before the mortar set, I immediately leveled the beam to the horizon. Then came the I-beams. The wind picked up and it rained. It became uncomfortable and dangerous to work. The problem with the second beam was that it had to be inserted into the sawed hole on one side, and on the other side to get into the drilled holes of 16 diameter. That's when the phone service went down. We didn't realize it right away. We decided to reattach the slings differently so that the beam would have a slight slope.
Пока стоп, подожди. Давай, ниже, блин, она так не зайдет ни хрена. Давай ниже пробуем. Стоп, стоп, стоп! Сейчас. Сейчас все будет, подожди. Держи. Чуть-чуть ниже, совсем чуть-чуть. Чуть-чуть. Еще. Оп, стоп. Блядь, чуть-чуть осталось. Так. Держи. Почти зашла. Слышишь меня?
Да.
Слышу, да?
The crane left, and I immediately painted 16 stud 2 I-beams between each other. In the lower hole, the stud went in perfectly. But the upper one resisted a little more drilled with a metal drill bit, and the stud also went in. Here a little later I will weld around the perimeter. That's it, he's not going anywhere now. It's getting pretty high. Now we just need to finish the puzzle. The last blocks are the most pleasant and long awaited. "3.5 months of work are over. A lot of hard work has been done. Visually, the house is taking its shape. when it was all just a drawn project on paper, and now there is a realization and embodiment in a real dream house. Officially, we can say that the first floor is completely ready. This year I want to have time to pour the reinforcing belt and cover the first floor with beams. I hope the weather conditions will allow me to do it. That's all for today. I am waiting for you in new videos. Who has not subscribed to the channel, click on the bell. Thank you for watching, and bye.